Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Addie. I am a mom to 3 little girls, and today I thought I would share some ways that we use ball pit balls more than just sitting in the ball pit taking up space or getting all over your house. So that is what today's video is going to be like. If you are new to my channel, I love sharing motherhood content, kid activity ideas, motherhood hacks, like just stuff that's going on in my life, pregnancy and things like that, whatever is going on. So if you are into that, please consider hitting that subscribe button below. And if you like this video, if you find it helpful, I would love a like and a comment. That would be wonderful. I love connecting with you guys in that way. So without further ado, let's find some different ways that we use these balls.
So first up is to grab a muffin tin, and for little ones it can be as simple as letting them put balls in each muffin tin spot, and then they can dump them out and do it over and over again. They could do it by color, they could do it randomly, however, but it could be just this simple. If you have an older one, like this is my almost 5-year-old, then kind of throwing them into the muffin tin and trying to get them in is way more of a challenge and way more fun for that age. So same apparatus, the muffin tin, but just tweaked a little bit differently depending on your child's age. Next up would be to grab some painter's tape or masking tape and put some sticky side up on your floor. Then what you're going to want to do is get your kids a little bit away from it and have them roll the ball towards the tape, trying to get it to stick. If they do it too hard, the ball will just roll right over. If they do it too soft, it will curve and not even get to it. So finding that balance on how much pressure to release the ball to get it to actually stick to the tape. It's much harder for them than you would think, and it's super, super fun. The next activity is a balancing activity. So you want to put a ball on a paper plate and see how long they can balance it walking across the room without it dropping. My 2-year-old, she kept the plate kind of across her belly so it wasn't falling off because she wasn't really balancing correctly, and that's okay. It's what was fun for her. But for the older one, that was too easy. So we started to do a little bit more challenge, and I told her to stand on one foot and try to balance it, hop up and down and try to balance it, and like do other tasks to make it a little bit harder and more fun for her. I also will say that using more than one ball could be a more challenge. And if the paper plate is too easy for them, you could do this with something like a ruler instead. And speaking of rulers, we're going to use a ruler with a ball for the next activity across a table. So I have set up on this table a bunch of obstacles, and I am having her use a ruler to get her ball through the obstacles, down the table and back. So for her, I have a lot of obstacles. For my 2-year-old, this was too many obstacles because, as you can see, she kind of is knocking everything which way. 2-year-olds just don't have as much coordination. I probably could have taken some away from her, but she was having so much fun. So you can adjust it however you wish for your kids. The next way to use these balls is to play a little game of popcorn. So we put 15 to 20 balls on this blanket, and then we're parachuting them up to try to catch as many as we can. This was a little too hard for my 2-year-old, but for me and my 5-year-old, almost 5-year-old, we had so much fun doing it, and she started to get the concept of like how the game actually was supposed to work and actually parachuting them off the blanket to catch them the more and more we did it. So if at first it doesn't like work out exactly as you hope, keep doing it and keep trying, because she ended up loving this, and we ended up doing this on and off all throughout the day. Up next is to make your ball pit like a hide and seek treasure sensory bin. If you have seen videos on my channel, you know that I love using rice bins to hide things, especially in learning activities. So basically use your ball pit for that. I have 10 objects that I've hidden in the balls, and they are just going through trying to find all the things I've hidden. Of course, you could make this more learning oriented, but I kind of just wanted to keep it fun today. So this is just another fun activity. Next up, we are using masking or painter's tape. Again, this time I have it up on the door or wall. And for my littler one, I just put it right at her reaching height for her tippy toes where she could reach and put these up. And so she would just put them up, and when it was full, she would just take one off and rearrange and make patterns and do that sort of thing. You could make the tape a lot longer than this. I don't know why I did it this short today. For my older one, I don't have a video of it, but for hers, I did up quite a bit higher, and she had to jump to put hers on there. So it was a little bit harder for her. So that's just one way to adapt this for an older child. The next thing you could do with these balls is to do a classic game of trying to catch the ball in a cup. So I gave each of my kids a cup and they could pick a ball, and then they just tried to throw the ball up and catch it in their cup. This was definitely a difficult one for both girls to do, but it was a great challenge for my 4 or 5-year-old. She, got it sometimes, didn't others, and was trying to figure it out after a while. So it was a really good challenge for her. And for my 2-year-old, somehow she mysteriously made it a couple times, and sometimes she kind of threw it in her cup instead of throwing it up in the air. But that was what was fun for her and keeping her occupied. So it doesn't really matter if they do it exactly correctly, just whatever's fun for them. Next up would be to use the balls one by one to put them in a box and fill it all the way up. Ideally, you'd be using a big box, but apparently we just recycled all of our Amazon boxes, and the hole would be much smaller so that they could only put one ball in at once and then get them to fill the box all the way up. Next up, we were working on a little bit of fine motor and direction following. So for a littler one, it could be as simple as just placing these on toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, little cups, whatever. That's enough fine motor for them. For my older one, we were working on following directions. So I would give her a little pattern sequence, pink, gray, blue, for example, and then she would put them in that order as I said them. We also did this timed, so she would place 3 and I would time her how long it would take her, and then we would do it over and over and see if she could get faster. So that's just another way to kind of do this simple activity. Now for some independent and imaginative play, you can use these balls in your kitchen set to do an ice cream shop. So my kids would take turns. Someone would be the ice cream shopkeep and one would be the customer, and then they would serve the other one and bring it back, and then they would trade and, mix role playing. They would tell each other what flavor they wanted, and the one would try to guess the color ball they wanted based on the ice cream flavor. Sometimes it would have to be sent back because it wasn't what they were expecting and have to give them more clues. So it was just a really fun thing to listen to them play, and it definitely was a great activity to use these balls for. Another thing you can do with these things is set up a ramp and basically just put the balls down the ramp. Just that provided so much entertainment for these two. And then, of course, one of the most classic things you could do with these balls is just try to throw them into a bucket, a container, a basket, something of that nature. Work on their skills, have them try to throw it a little bit farther or a little bit closer depending on their skill level. But of course, that's just such a classic and good way to use these balls. And my final idea, which I don't have pictured here, would be to use these in water, whether it's just a sensory bin of water or in the bathtub or something like that. But putting them in water is so fun because they float.
All right, guys, that is all for today. Hopefully you found some new ways to use these and can, better use them in your life and not get so frustrated by them. If you have not already watched my Valentine's Day craft and activity video, I encourage you to do that as well because there's a major giveaway going on right now and it's ending really soon. So watch that video. I will link it in the description below if you want to get entered for that giveaway, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!